I went ahead and started the record button so we can record this information if anyone is not able to attend today. Hi, William. Hi, Sarah, and Cora, and Megan, and Cheryl. Is that Cheryl Bentley? Yes.
Yes, it's me.
Awesome. Well, as we wait, we're going to start in just a little while. We'll let other people join us, so we'll wait just a little bit. But while we're waiting, William, where are you from?
What do you mean exactly? Like
What county?
What? Oh, Lincoln County.
Oh, so you know Miss Courtney.
Yes.
Gotcha.
My mom is Julie Carberry. She's the leader of the poultry club here.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Awesome. What grade are you in, William? I'm
a sophomore in high school.
Very good. Awesome. Sarah, what county are you from?
Hi, I'm Sarah. This is Lucas. We are in Fleming County.
Awesome. So Stacy Thrasher is your 4-H agent.
Yeah, she is.
Awesome. Lucas, what are you involved in 4-H?
I show sheep. I do the Country Ham Project. So much else.
Anything that Stacy asked him to do is what he does.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for being here. Cora, what county are you from?
I'm from Morgan County.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you could be here. Kim Lane is the one who kind of initiated all of this. So I guess maybe you and some of your friends might be interested in traveling outbound.
Yeah.
Awesome. What do you do in 4-H?
I'm the treasurer.
Of which club?
It's just our 4-H club.
Okay, very good. Awesome. And what grade are you in, Cora?
I'm a junior.
Very good. Awesome. And then I think that's Megan Klee, maybe.
Yes, I'm currently cooking plantains, so trying not to be too loud.
Very good. Awesome. And then Cheryl. So we have a good representation of people. Since it's 7:35, we'll go ahead and get started. And like I said, I'm recording this so we can share it with those who couldn't attend tonight. So Cora, if you have any friends that I know that were interested with Miss Kim, then you can share this link with them later. But to get us started, my name is Rachel Gaduli, and I am the Extension Specialist for Leadership and International Programs for Kentucky 4-H. And with us today, we have Courtney Brock. Courtney, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Courtney Brock. I'm a 4-H agent in Lincoln County, and I'm a regional and local coordinator for States 4-H.
Thank you. And Max.
Hi, everyone. It's good to see you all. My name is Max Burnham. I am the program manager for our outbound programs at States 4-H International. So kind of at the national office where we work with a lot of states to implement these programs. And one of those states we work closely with is with Rachel and Courtney in Kentucky. So it's great to see you all tonight.
Tonight, we're going to have the opportunity to learn more about the outbound program opportunities that are provided through the States 4-H program. And as Max mentioned, we partner with the States 4-H program. They are a national partner. So they are the ones who put all their programs together, and our young people in Kentucky apply to these programs, are selected by the national organization, and then work together to prepare and then travel abroad. So tonight, Max is going to give us a rundown of all of the program options for our outbound program. After he does his portion, then I will talk a little bit more about our specifics with Kentucky, and a little bit more about our inbound program and how these two connect to each other. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Max so he can give us all the information that he has.
All right, I do have a little PowerPoint presentation just to help me collect my thoughts as well. So bear with me here as I share my screen and we can get started on sharing about the outbound programs. Let me know if y'all can see this okay. Sorry about that, going back through. Does that look okay, everybody? All right, so yeah, hi again, everybody. My name is Max Burnham. I've been working at States 4-H International and with the outbound programs for the past 3 years or so. And I'm excited to see you all here and excited that you're interested in potentially pursuing some international travel opportunities. We work with some really great partners in different countries around the world. And so I'm going to share some of those opportunities with you this evening. So here are just the basic program goals that I have, about 10 to 12 slides here. I just want to share some of the program options that are available for next summer, our international travel opportunities for US youth. Then I want to talk about some specific program updates, things that look a little different for this year than they have in the past, as well as finally touch upon COVID-19 health and safety preparations for our travel programs next summer. So you will hear me refer to these programs as our outbound programs because it is our US youth traveling outbound, so traveling abroad to other countries. And for 2022, summer 2022, we offer programs in the following countries: in Japan, in Costa Rica, in South Korea, in Taiwan, in Norway, in Romania, and in Argentina. And I believe prior to this meeting, you did receive an email from Rachel that kind of lists a lot more of the program details and the travel dates for these programs. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the nitty-gritty details of the specific travel dates for these programs, but I do want to go over sort of the broad overview of what our programs look like in these travel countries. Almost all of our programs fall under the program model that you see on the left-hand side of your screen that we have kind of dubbed our Homestay Exchange program model. And that consists of the following sort of key components. So as Rachel said earlier, this is a national program. So we do work with between 20 and 25 states to recruit US delegates to travel on these programs. And as part of our Homestay Exchange program, all of our delegates will meet in the United States and then travel together to the international countries. So if you were traveling to Japan this summer, you would meet usually in Seattle, because of our Japan flights go out of Seattle usually, and then you'd all fly together to the country with your chaperone. So you wouldn't be traveling on your own internationally. Upon which you would be met by our international partner organization, and they would lead a very comprehensive overnight arrival orientation for all of the delegates to share a little bit more about each country's unique culture and some of the specific program requirements, as well as introduce them to their host families. Now, the reason this is called a homestay exchange program is because really the bulk and the majority of this program is spent in an individual homestay. So each of our students on these programs are matched with a host family, with a host sibling that is similar age, and they spend 3 to 4 weeks with that host family where they get an immersive experience into the real everyday life and culture of that country. So of Costa Rica or of Norway or of Japan. And, we don't require any specific sightseeing requirements or obligations for these host families, although many of them do want to share much more about their fabulous country and culture and different sites. But really, it's an opportunity for our delegates for that 4 weeks to get that everyday picture of what that family and what that country and culture is like. At the end of the program, there is a group departure debriefing. All the delegates, travel back to usually the capital city where they'll all see each other again after their individual homestays. They'll talk about the experience. They'll share ideas for how they're going to share about it when they return back to the United States. And then they will all fly back together again to the United States at the end of that program. So that is the overview of what our programs look like in almost all of our countries. We do have a bit of a newer program model that we run in one of our countries, and I'll describe that, the specific country, in a couple of slides. But I do want to say that we do have one program that is a group exchange program. And so the main difference, so for the Homestay Exchange, that's a 4-week program. Now, the main difference with our group exchange program model is that instead of that individual homestay component, which is so key for our Homestay Exchange programs, our group exchange programs are held with group accommodations and group activities with the delegates. So they would be participating in a variety of activities. Again, they would vary by country, but it could be service projects together, could be language learning activities, could be group participation in local 4-H clubs in that other country. These, because they're not the individual homestay model, usually these programs are about 3 weeks long. Here are the programs that are our Homestay Exchange program model. Our Homestay Exchange program model, we have in these 6 countries: in Japan, in Costa Rica, in South Korea, in Norway, in Romania, and Taiwan. So all of those countries offer the 4-week Homestay Exchange program model next summer. Of course, if you have questions about individual program partnerships or activities, feel free, you can type them in the chat box, and I know Rachel and I will have some time to answer questions at the end. We do have 2 sort of exceptions, or 2 programs that are non-Homestay Exchange program 4-week programs, and I'll go through those right now. The first one is it's our longest program. It's our Japan 8-week program. So the main difference with this program is that first, it's our only 8-week program. And the first 4 weeks is characterized again by an individual homestay in or near Tokyo. But for those first 4 weeks, all of the students attend an intensive Nihongo language program every weekday at the Labo office. So those are group Japanese language study program. So for about 4 hours each day for those first 4 weeks, all of our students would travel to the Labo office in Tokyo from their individual homestays. They would go through group Nihongo language lessons, and then they would return back to their individual homestays in the evening. That's the first 4 weeks of the program. The second 4 weeks of the program is just another Japan 4-week program homestay. So they'd be placed with a new family for that second 4 weeks, and it would revert back to our traditional program model, where it's just the individual homestay for those second 4 weeks. So first 4 weeks, everyday intensive Japanese language study as a group. Second 4-week, individual homestay program with no language component. It might sound intimidating, but we do say that there's no requirement going into the Japan 8-week program for any background in Japanese language comprehension or speaking ability. Of course, if you apply and are accepted to this program, we would recommend that you spend a little time on your own brushing up on those language skills before you travel. But there are beginner and intermediate classes in the Nihongo language program. So you'd be kind of tested before you go. And if you're at a very basic level, that's totally okay. You just be placed in sort of the more basic language instruction class. So that is one of the exceptions to our general 4-week homestay model. We do have one other program exception, and that is our group exchange program. This is our newest program partnership we're really excited about with Argentina, and specifically with Argentina 4-H. This is for students 15 to 18. And again, if you remember what I was saying about the group exchange programs, this program is really characterized by group accommodations in a city in Argentina called Cordoba. Cordoba is a couple hours outside of the capital, outside of Buenos Aires, and it is where Argentina 4-H conducts almost all of their 4-H activities. So there are a variety of activities that the group that will travel to Argentina will participate in as a group. They will do language learning in the morning, Spanish language learning as a group, and they will participate in local 4-H clubs and local activities, primary amongst them being orchestra and soccer. Those are the 2 biggest 4-H club activities in Argentina. So if you are interested in applying to this program, having an interest or an excitement in one of those activities is encouraged. They also are planning on implementing a multi-day 4-H camp outside of Cordoba, sort of in the more rural countryside. And of course, the group will also go on group sightseeing and cultural excursions throughout their program in Argentina. So that is the broad overview. Again, almost all of our programs are those traditional 4-week homestay models. And then with 2 exceptions, we have our Japan 8-week program with Nihongo language learning, the Japanese language learning, and we have our group exchange to Argentina, the 2 ones that are different than our homestay individual exchange model. Program dates for the Argentina program as depicted below, but you also have that program flyer that Rachel sent you as well. Okay, so a few updates and reminders on what sort of the application cycle looks like for the upcoming year. So this is kind of a dense table. I'll walk you through it section by section. So our outbound applications opened back in September, and we're sort of right in the middle of our online application recruitment cycle at this point. By January 15th, again, a reminder that this is sort of a national program. So our national application deadline is January 15th, where we expect all of our states to compile and submit all of the applications from their states to our national office. And I believe that Rachel has a little bit of a different deadline specifically for Kentucky applicants that she will share with you later. Is that right, Rachel? Okay. So in addition to the application, your first payment is also due by January 15th. You know, we're a little bit old school in some of our fashions here at States 4-H, so this does need to be submitted by check. And you'll see, depending on the program, that first payment amount varies depending on the program that you select. And those amounts are available on the right-hand side of that table. So it's $2,000 for the Japan 8-week program, $1,500 for the 4-week program in Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Norway, and Romania, and then a $1,000 fee for Costa Rica and Argentina. After we compile all of these applications, as Rachel said, we will go through a national selection of those applications, and we will send out acceptance letters in mid-February, by February 15th. So we will share all the acceptance letters for the Kentucky applicants to Rachel. We'll then pass them all along to you. And then you will sign those acceptance letter. You will agree to some of the terms and conditions that we have, and you will send those signed acceptance letters back to our office. By March 15th, the second payment is due. So again, this is another, this is your second sort of payment fee. It has to be by check, again, submitted to our office, the same amounts for those countries as was the first program fee. And then finally, by May 1st, the third and final payment is due. And this includes sort of the final airfare amount, because by May 1st, we will have purchased all of the international airfare for these programs, and we will have included that in the final program invoice that we send to you all. Speaking of finances, just want to touch briefly on what's included in sort of the program fee for each of our programs. So what is included? We send all of our delegates welcome packets. So that includes a pretty comprehensive delegate. We call our students delegates once they are apply and are accepted into the program. It includes a delegate handbook that is specific to the country that they're traveling to. So it will include all of our program requirements and regulations, but also more country specific and cultural information about the country that the students will be traveling to. It also includes a variety of orientations that we have at the state level, like Rachel and her colleagues will lead a state orientation for you all, but we also lead national orientations for each of the groups as well. So we will lead one sort of conference call, national conference call for each country to familiarize yourself with the cohort so you can meet your chaperone that's traveling with you, and so you can begin preparing more specifically about the travel program upcoming in the next summer. And we also lead group departure orientations, like physical in-person group departure orientations that occur right the day before you fly internationally to Japan. So for instance, if you're going to Japan, you would fly to Seattle I would meet you at the airport and we would hold an overnight departure orientation in Seattle before the group then flies as a group to Japan. So all of those sort of orientations are included as part of these program fees. Also, all of the in-country activities are included as well. So that includes any of the orientations that are provided by our international partners, any transportation that you participate in while you're on program, as well as meals. And of course, that homestay is included as well. And then finally, all of the participants in our program are provided with international medical coverage for accidents and sicknesses that occur on the program itself. What do the program fees not include? So the first one and the biggest one is the airfare. So when you're looking at the program fees, and I'll show you on the next slide how this is broken down. When you're looking at the program fee for each program, that does not include the airfare. It also does not include passport application fees. Some of our students may already have passports. If you do, that's wonderful. But some of you, if you're traveling for the first time, will need to apply and receive a passport. And there usually is fees associated with that you pay to the State Department directly. Required vaccinations. Some countries do require vaccinations. And if you don't have those, sometimes those can require a cost to receive. We don't provide, that program fee does not include any money for any gifts that you want to bring your host family. That is not required. You don't have to bring gifts for anyone, but a lot of times our students will bring little keepsakes or little mementos from their maybe their high school or from their middle school or maybe from their local 4-H club that they then share with folks when they travel abroad. So the program fees do not include the costs for those items. And the program fee does not include any sort of spending money. So if you're traveling to Costa Rica and you want to buy something to bring home, of course, the program fees do not cover any of those items as well. The one other fee that sometimes occurs, particularly for our younger delegates, is what is called unaccompanied minor fees. These are fees associated with delegates flying from their local departure airport to our national departure airport. So if you're flying from a small airport in Kentucky to Seattle, and if you're under the age of 15, you would have to pay a little bit of extra money on your flight for an unaccompanied minor fee to allow somebody who's under the age of 15 to travel on that flight independently. Then in Seattle, you would meet the chaperone and you would all travel internationally together, but it's that original domestic flight where you may incur unaccompanied minor fees. And again, this typically is only for students who are under the age of 15. It varies a little airline to airline, and that can get a little bit complex. So I'll leave it there for now, but that's just something to note. We do include the airfare cost in that final invoice, and we actually book the airfare tickets through our travel agency. So that's kind of a commonly asked question from families and from interested students is, can we just book our own airfare? And the answer for our programs is no. We book that airfare through our travel agency, and that's to ensure that all of our students are on the same international flight to and from their host country, to making sure, and also to make sure that they're getting all to the right departure airport as well. So we work with a travel agency to reserve those tickets. And so then we include that cost in the final invoice that we send to you all on May 1st. So when you're looking at this, and I just pulled this screenshot from one of those documents that Rachel shared with you all, when you're looking at this, you'll see the program fee. And again, that does not include the airfare cost, which is why we put the airfare estimate right below. And this is based upon our prior experience implementing these programs. Airfare costs can fluctuate year to year and depending on the program, but you should have a pretty good idea of what the full program cost will be by just taking the program fee and adding up maybe kind of the mid-level of what the airfare cost is. So if you're looking, for instance, at the Costa Rica program here, the program fee is $1,895. Add an extra $1,000 or so for airfare, and you'll get about the total cost of the program, which will be somewhere around $2,895 or somewhere around $3,000 total dollars. Similar for all the programs like that. All right, that's enough about finances. Moving on, online application. So this is just a plug, and it's actually a bigger reminder to some of our coordinators where we've done some of this differently in the past, but we are moving to a fully online application system starting this year. So if you're interested in applying for these programs, in the past, everybody sort of hand filled out PDF applications. We have moved in, we have dove into the 21st century, and now all of our applications are online. And it's no secret that these programs have been drastically affected over the last couple of years, right, by COVID. And so this is really an emphasis on our part to help consolidate our participant records. We have some students who are participating from past years who were unable to go, and also some new students. So by having everyone fill out the same online application for this year, it really helps us consolidate our records to ensure complete applications and to ensure that we have the most up-to-date emergency contact information for all of our participants as well. That link is also in that online application information document that Rachel shared with you all, and we can also put it in the chat box for this call. All right, the final section of my quick presentation today is just talking a little bit more about COVID-19 health and safety policies and procedures for next summer. I'm sure it's on your minds. I know it's been on my mind a lot over the last couple of years trying to plan and implement international exchange programs. Our base assumption, and something that we're preparing for and that we would like you all to prepare for, is that COVID will continue to be present during the exchange programs next summer to some extent and to some degree. So we need to make preparations now to start thinking about what that will look like for the health and safety of our participants. With that being said, we also need to acknowledge that this is a really sort of dynamic and ever-changing situation, right? So when we're developing our COVID-19 health and safety guidelines, they will vary and they will change and they will adapt over the coming months. And they will also depend on the international partner programs and countries and what they're requiring for entry requirements as well. So we are at one time working on sort of a comprehensive COVID-19 health and safety policy, and then also working individually with each of our international partners to make sure that that policy adheres to all of their requirements and guidelines, both at their level, so at our international partner level, but also at their government level as well, and like who and what is required for entering a country like Norway or like Japan or like Korea. So all of that said, yes, it will most likely be an issue and a challenge that we will need to work with. And these guidelines are ever changing and ever adapting. And those are guidelines, comprehensive ones that we will share with you as soon as we have them in as much a finalized state as we feel comfortable sharing them externally, so you can be prepared moving forward. A few things though that I do want to share that will be part of that. I'm just looking ahead and letting you all know that these will all most likely be a part of that final document. The first one, prior to travel, we will ask all of our delegates to monitor their own temperature for 14 days prior to departure on their international program. In addition to just temperature monitoring, we will ask them to complete a health questionnaire. If any of you have traveled in the last few months, you'll be familiar with kind of what these look like. They ask if you've experienced any symptoms related to COVID-19. If you have, we will ask that you do not travel. If you haven't, you will fill out the questionnaire. You will check all the boxes that you have not been having the symptoms, and you'll present that document to our chaperone when you arrive at sort of the group departure orientation prior to international travel. Fairly standard. I would say both of these are fairly standard for any international travel right now on any exchange programs. I would say sort of the most important thing that I want to draw your attention to is our COVID-19 vaccine requirement for our outbound programs. Our board of directors recently decided that the COVID-19 vaccine is required for anybody whose ages the FDA has fully approved the vaccine for. Now, that is different than the emergency use authorizations that the FDA has approved. The fully approved vaccines are only for people ages 16 and over right now. So for our program next summer, we are requiring vaccines, COVID-19 vaccines, for anyone ages 16 and above at the time of travel. To note, I would note and add that again, and this is reverting back to those COVID-19 health and safety policies, it is possible that some of our international partners or some of the international partner governments might be more strict than that. They might be more stringent than that, and they might require everybody from ages 12 and above to have the COVID vaccine. That is not something that I've heard yet from our partners, but it's something that's very possible that they institute. And so I just want you to be aware of that our policy right now at States 4-H is that anybody 16 and above is required to be vaccinated to travel on these programs. Again, that might change based upon this yellow text. That could change in the future. If it does, we would communicate that as quickly as we have that information. Also, something that is required by a lot of our countries is that they require, and this is the same for anybody traveling to the US right now, they required a negative PCR test within 72 hours of international travel for most countries. This is true for almost all of our travel countries right now. So that's just something to be aware of, that will most likely still be a requirement next summer. Of course, we hope that the pandemic improves and some of these health and travel restrictions and guidelines are loosened. But at this point, I just want to be fully upfront and share, like, these are what we're planning on. And so if you have hesitations about this, or you are uncomfortable thinking about sort of the vaccine and what that requires of you, then this honestly might not be the best year to travel on these programs. So just want to be upfront about that with you. I'm happy to answer questions that you have about any of these things. And then finally, this is final, just again, and this is true of all international travel right now, most likely mask wearing will still be required next summer in sort of public spaces and during international flights themselves. So that is everything. Man, I wanted to end more upbeat than that. Sorry, maybe I can do something happy at the end here. I would just say that I think these programs are really impactful. They're really fun for our youth. They always are matched with really incredible host families. And, it's been a lot of virtual programs the last year and a half. And I am really hopeful and I'm really confident that we'll be able to effectively implement and successfully implement these programs next summer in person. While still making sure that everybody is safe and healthy on the program. So thank you all for being here. I really appreciate your time. And that's all I have, Rachel, on my end. So I'll turn it back to you. I'll stop sharing, I think, as well, Rachel, if that's okay with you.
Awesome. Well, now is an opportunity for you all to ask any questions that you might have of us. Maybe something fun that we can do before I move on to talk a little bit more about specifics of Kentucky. If you could in the chat, maybe type what country or what program looks appealing to you that you might be interested in applying for. Even if you don't, that's totally fine. We're not going to hold you accountable for this, but which program looks the most interesting to you? If you could type that in the chat box and send that to everyone to see. Japan, awesome. Are you interested in the 4-week or 8-week Japan program? And I don't know if you were on at that point, but we have a 4-week and an 8-week program. Lucas is interested in Costa Rica, awesome. 4-week for Billy. Argentina, awesome. Yes, these programs are life-changing. We have had young people travel on these programs before. One of our most recent young people, Brianna Burkhead from Garrett County, traveled to South Korea. And Brianna also then went on to be one of the National Youth Pillar winners. So this program opens so many doors for our young people to develop their leadership and cultural competencies and skills that they will take into the rest of their lives. We also in Kentucky had a young lady travel to Japan, and she's now studying Japanese, and she just finished her internship in Japan and came back to the US. So there are lots of opportunities for our young people in Kentucky to engage in the international community through this program and make amazing connections and networking opportunities. So a little bit about Kentucky specifically. We do also have our inbound program, and that is July to August this year, and we will be hosting young people from Japan, and we look for hosts every year for the to host these Japanese students. And our young people have to be within 3 years of age, and at 3 years or 4 years, I can't remember. Max, can you correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah, sorry. So 3 years in a typical year, but I think this is maybe a little bit untypical still. So I think 4 years. Yeah.
Yep. So, and we place the Japanese youth with hosts who are within 3 to 4 years and of the same gender. And this is a unique opportunity for you to bring someone into your home and your community for 3.5 to 4 weeks in the summer. And a perk of doing this is that in Kentucky, we have the opportunity to provide some opportunities to save up credits that you can then apply to an outbound program. So if this year is not your year that you think you want to travel outbound, I highly encourage you to watch your emails and watch the Kentucky 4-H Facebook page, because we will be looking for hosts. And this is a opportunity where you can save some credits and bring someone to your home, make connections, and then potentially when you travel to their country, if you're interested in Japan, then maybe stay with their family. So that makes a great opportunity for you to bring someone to your home. And Sarah said that's a great exchange. Sarah, have you all done that program before? I don't recognize your name, so maybe before my time. Oh, yes. The idea of saving credits, absolutely. We strongly believe that we want to support our families and our young people in traveling abroad. So any way that we can do that, we want to make that happen. A couple of other things I put in the chat as Max is going through. The Kentucky application, we'd like for that to be due December 15th. Originally, I said December 1st, but December is getting here really fast. So we're going to move that back to December 15th. And if you do have questions or concerns about finances or anything like that, please reach out to me. We don't want finances to be a barrier for our young people to travel abroad and have this unique opportunity. So please reach out to me if you think finances are going to be an issue. We want to work with you and make this opportunity happen. There's also a national scholarship that Max might be able to tell us a little bit more about if he could. Did I miss that part?
Yeah, no, thanks, Rachel, for bringing that up. Yeah, definitely. I echo Rachel. We don't want to have finances be sort of the barrier for participation. And I think I would add a couple things to that. The first is we do offer national scholarships that are called the Global Citizen Scholarships. We have a limited number of those. Those are $1,000 per scholarship, and it's part of your online application. So if you're interested in the program and you create an application online, as you're going through it, you will see a space for it that says, would you like to apply for the Global Citizen Scholarship? And if you do, there's the scholarship application right there. And you just fill it out and you add it as part of your application. And it really sort of takes into consideration several factors, including potential for leadership and global citizenship, but also sort of need-based aspects as well. So it's sort of a combination needs-based and merit-based scholarship on its own. And then I would say that, again, we've implemented these programs for a lot of years, and we've worked with states who have done a lot of really creative fundraising opportunities for their delegates, or the delegates have done them themselves. So if you're kind of worried about that, or you're worried about ways to come up with creative ways to help fund this experience, please reach out to me, or of course to Rachel, and we can put our heads together, because there's some really, really creative ways to raise funds for these programs. And then I did see one other question in here. I think Cheryl from you. Oh yeah, Rachel. Yeah, the age depends on the program. So some of our programs are ages 12 to 18 for the delegates, and then others are ages 15 to 18. And it should list those ages in one of those flyers that Rachel emailed you, specifically per country. But if you do have one, Cheryl, that you're specifically interested in now, just put it in the chat box and I can probably tell you off the top of my head.
Actually, I'm an agent and I have a student that might be interested. She's been studying Japanese since COVID. And I think she's in 7th grade. And so this was a program that I was thinking of taking to certain kids.
That's
And
really
she was
wonderful. Yeah, thanks for joining, Cheryl. So our Japan programs are 12 to 18. So it's our wider age range, and that is based upon a number of factors, but one is that we have such sort of a long history and relationship with our Japanese partners. 50 years, actually, we've worked with them. And so we know that they provide such like a reliable, safe environment for not only our older delegates, but also all the way down to age 12 as well. So yeah, it's a really great program.
It sounds like she might be in that age range.
Yes, she is in the age range.
Awesome. Are there any other questions? I saw that, is there a program where families travel together for 1 to 2 weeks? Not currently at this time. We don't have that opportunity with our States 4-H partners. There is an opportunity for chaperones. If you're interested in applying to be a chaperone, we can send you that information. But as a program policy, we do not allow parents to travel with their children on these trips. And I think that's still correct, right, Max? Yes, okay, that is correct.
That's a great idea though, Sarah. Maybe in the future. We just had our conference last week and we were all throwing around ideas of like new exchange programs to build. So maybe if you check back in a year, a couple of years, maybe we'll have some of those other opportunities.
Awesome. I think when you look at some of the programs that are on that list, it tells you who our partners is, or who our partners are. And so you can look and see if there's a 4-H program that we partner with. And that's, I know for Brianna, she got to stay with a 4-H family in South Korea and tour their farm and orchards. And she had a really awesome time because she also grew up on a farm. And so it was really neat for her to see the 4-H projects that they did. So I know that Lucas and Matthew and Cora, you all are involved in 4-H and you have 4-H experience. Those are the ones I remember off the top of my head. And so it's really cool to see how 4-H operates in other countries.
Yeah, I would just add that, yeah, the majority of our partners abroad are 4-H. And that's something that was kind of new to me when I joined this program. You know, I had more familiarity with 4-H in the United States, but was unaware about how international it is. And so, as Rachel said, it's so interesting to see the different types of models, but it's also a comfort and a familiarity for our families and for our students, knowing that, you know, they're traveling to this organization that has the similar emphasis on youth development, right? And programs for youth and development and safety and prioritizing that for all of our students. So that's really fun.
Okay, well, are there any other questions we can answer for you all this evening? If not, thank you all so much for being a part of this interest session. If you do have questions after you process this information, please feel free to reach out to me through email. We really, really hope that you consider traveling internationally or hosting a student in your home this summer. And that information will come out after the first of the year, and we'll start recruiting host families. And like I said, that's a great way to save credit and open your home to the world. So thank you all so much. We appreciate you, and we hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.